It all started with a simple message, just 7 words that cracked open a door I thought had been sealed forever. "Can we talk, just for closure?" I stared at my phone, heart thudding. It was my ex. The same person who had broken me a year ago. The same person I had spent months trying to forget. I was in a new relationship now, happy, stable, finally feeling safe again. But something about that message made my chest tighten. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was guilt. Or maybe, deep down, there were still questions I never got answers to. I hesitated. My current boyfriend, Aaron, had always been understanding about my past. He knew the breakup had been messy. He knew I was still healing when we met. But I never expected the past to come knocking like this. And certainly not now, when everything in my life finally seemed to be coming together. I told Aaron about the message. He didn't freak out, didn't yell. He just looked at me for a long moment and said, "Do what you need to do. But be honest with yourself." I told him it was just closure. A conversation. One time. Nothing more. And I truly believed it. Or at least I wanted to. When I met my ex, Tyler, at that quiet little cafe, it felt surreal. Like stepping back into an old life I'd abandoned. He looked different. Softer. Sadder, maybe. We talked. At first, it was awkward. Then it got emotional. Apologies were made. Tears even came. But there was no romance. No spark. Just history. Pain. Regret. And a strange kind of peace. I told myself it was closure. And I left thinking that chapter was finally, truly done. But I was wrong. Because something shifted after that. Not with Tyler, with Aaron. He didn't say anything right away, but I could feel the distance growing. Little things changed. The way he looked at me. The way he touched me. He smiled less. He asked fewer questions. And when I finally confronted him, his answer left me frozen. "You say it was just closure," he said quietly. "But it changed something in you. You're here with me, but a part of you is still back there." I denied it. I begged him to understand. But in my heart, I knew. Seeing Tyler again had stirred something I didn't expect. Not love. Not longing. Just a kind of confusion I couldn't shake. And Aaron felt it before I did. Now, everything I had built with Aaron, every ounce of trust, love, and security, was crumbling. All because I opened a door I should have left shut. All because I thought closure meant healing. But what if closure sometimes just reopens wounds? Before I could fix it, before I could prove to Aaron that he was my present and future, he walked away. And the worst part? Tyler wasn't even there to catch me when I fell. Because closure had come and gone, and all I was left with was regret. But what really happened in that final conversation with Tyler that changed everything? That's the part one never told anyone, until now. The last time I saw Tyler before that message, we were shouting in my apartment at 2 a.m. Words flew like knives. We said things we couldn't take back. When he walked out that night, I told myself that was the end. I blocked him. Deleted every photo. I even threw out the sweater he left behind. For months, I was numb. I told everyone I was fine, but deep down, I was just surviving. Then came Aaron. He didn't come into my life like a storm, he was calm, steady, patient. The complete opposite of Tyler. Aaron didn't ask for much. Just honesty, effort, and space to grow together. He listened to me when I talked about my past. He never judged me for the baggage I carried. With him, I felt seen in a way I never had before. Slowly, I began to believe I could really move on. I even started smiling for no reason again. But looking back now, maybe I rushed into healing before I was actually ready. So when Tyler messaged me, it hit a nerve I didn't know was still raw. I thought it would be a short conversation. I told myself I was strong enough. But I didn't expect him to bring up things I had buried, moments only we shared, little regrets he still carried, and truths that I had never heard before. He wasn't asking for a second chance. But the way he looked at me, like I was still unfinished business, it messed with my head more than I care to admit. I didn't tell Aaron the full truth about that talk. Not because I meant to lie, but because I didn't know how to explain what I felt. How could I say I walked away confused, not about Tyler, but about myself? And that silence? That's what started to break everything. A week after that conversation with Tyler, everything between me and Aaron felt off. Not dramatic or loud, just quiet. The kind of quiet that creeps in slowly, like a cold draft under the door. He still asked how my day was, still made me coffee in the mornings. But there was a gap in his eyes I couldn't cross anymore. I knew he was pulling back, but I didn't know how to reach for him without sounding guilty. Then one night, I saw him staring at his phone longer than usual. When I asked who he was texting, he just said, "No one important." I didn't press it. I had no right to. But the doubt started to grow. Was he moving on? Was he testing if I still cared? Or was this his quiet way of protecting himself from more hurt? At the same time, Tyler started messaging me again, not in a romantic way, but with small check-ins. "Hope you're okay," or "just thought about that trip we took once." I didn't reply every time, but when I did, it felt like walking a tightrope. I knew I wasn't cheating. But emotionally? I was drifting. And part of me hated that I couldn't fully shut that door. I started having dreams, memories mixed with current fears. In one, I was with Aaron at dinner, but every time I looked up, Tyler was sitting across from me instead. I'd wake up with my heart racing, unsure what I was even scared of. Losing Aaron? Or admitting I might have already lost myself? What made it worse was that Aaron wasn't accusing me of anything. He wasn't yelling or asking for explanations. That silence became the loudest weight on my chest. And every day I waited to fix it, I felt time slipping further away. One Friday night, Aaron came home later than usual. He didn't text. He didn't say where he'd been. When he walked in, I was already sitting on the couch, waiting, trying to calm the storm in my chest. He looked tired, but not the kind of tired from work. Tired from trying. From holding back. I asked him if we could talk, and for a moment, he just stood there, silent. Then, he finally sat across from me. "I don't think you know how far away you've gone," he said, voice low, but steady. "I feel like I'm dating a ghost. You're here, but your heart is somewhere else." I wanted to scream no, that wasn't true, but deep down, I couldn't lie anymore. Because even though I loved Aaron, something inside me had changed after Tyler showed up again. I had started questioning myself, my choices, my healing. And I never brought Aaron into that confusion. I left him outside, in the cold, thinking silence was safer than saying the wrong thing. But Aaron wasn't done. He pulled out his phone, handed it to me, and said, "I saw your messages. The ones with Tyler." My stomach dropped. He hadn't confronted me earlier, not because he didn't care, but because he was waiting to see if I'd tell him the truth myself. And I didn't. That moment hung in the air like a blade. "I'm not mad that you talked to him," Aaron said. "I'm hurt that you didn't trust me enough to be honest. I would have understood." I opened my mouth to explain, to fix it, but I froze. Because what do you say when the person you love has already started letting go? And worse, what if you're not sure you even deserve to hold on? I sat there holding Aaron's phone, heart pounding, face burning. The messages were all there, every late-night reply, every harmless "hope you're doing okay," and even that one message from Tyler I should have never answered. Sometimes I still wonder what we could have been. I had read it late at night and stupidly responded, "Yeah, me too, sometimes." I didn't mean it in that way. At least that's what I told myself. But now, with Aaron staring at me like a stranger, I realized how that one reply had shifted everything. I just needed to know I wasn't carrying unfinished feelings, I whispered. I wasn't looking for anything with him. I just wanted answers. Aaron shook his head slowly. And in the process, you gave him access to you again. While I stood on the outside, I could feel the air tighten around us. I wanted to fix it. I wanted to reach out and pull Aaron back. But something else happened before I could even try. My phone buzzed. I picked it up without thinking, and right there, another message from Tyler. I've been thinking. I want to talk again. Just one more time. Please. Aaron saw it. His eyes darkened, not with jealousy, but with disbelief. He didn't yell. He didn't storm out. He just stood up, grabbed his keys, and said, "You've already made your choice. You just don't realize it yet." Then the door closed behind him. For a few seconds, I couldn't move. My ears rang. My hands trembled. But as I stared at Tyler's message, another thought crept in: what if Tyler knew what he was doing all along? What if this wasn't about closure for him, but control? I scrolled up through our messages, looking for something, anything, that felt genuine. And then I saw it. A screenshot he had sent me days ago, of a place we once visited. At first, it had felt sweet. Nostalgic. But now, I noticed something I hadn't before. The photo had a reflection in the glass behind him. And in that reflection, was me. Taken recently. Somewhere I hadn't seen him. Somewhere he shouldn't have been. My heart dropped. Tyler had been near me, watching me, without saying a word. This wasn't about healing the past. This was something darker. And I had just pushed the one person who truly cared about me, right out the door. I couldn't breathe. My hands went cold as I stared at that photo. Tyler had taken it without me knowing, recently. Maybe even just days ago. That reflection wasn't a coincidence. It meant he had been close. Watching. Maybe following me. My chest tightened with panic as everything started to connect, the messages, the timing, the way he knew exactly when to reach out. This wasn't about closure. It never was. I grabbed my coat and rushed outside, calling Aaron again and again, but he wasn't picking up. I couldn't blame him. I had broken his trust. But now, I wasn't just scared of losing him, I was scared for both of us. I went to his place. Lights off. Car gone. My messages unread. Then, out of nowhere, another message came through on my phone. From a different number this time. No name. Just one line. "You never should have shut me out." My blood ran cold. I called the number, heart racing. No answer. I stood there on the street, wondering how I had ended up here, from one message meant for closure, to this. The next day, I went to the police. I didn't have solid proof Tyler had been stalking me, but I showed them the messages and the photo. They told me to block him and stay somewhere safe. I tried to reach Aaron again. Still nothing. That evening, I went back to my apartment. My heart dropped as I noticed the door wasn't fully shut. I slowly pushed it open. Inside, it was quiet, too quiet. I called out Aaron's name, hoping maybe, somehow, he had come back. Then, from the shadows, a voice answered. But it wasn't Aaron. It was Tyler. "You should have answered me the first time." I froze. Before I could react, another voice came from behind me, strong, urgent. "Step away from her, now." Aaron. He had come back. Not because I deserved it, but because he knew something wasn't right. He had been following the pieces too, just like me. And in that moment, everything collided, the regret, the guilt, the fear. Tyler didn't fight. He just looked broken. Confused. As if he truly believed all of this was love. The police took him that night. And as I stood there, holding Aaron's hand tightly, I realized something else. Sometimes closure doesn't heal. Sometimes, it opens doors you were never meant to walk through. But what Aaron whispered to me later, that was the twist I never saw coming. That night, after the police left and everything finally felt still, Aaron and I sat on the floor of my apartment, silent, both trying to make sense of everything that had just happened. I kept waiting for him to get up and leave again, but instead, he reached over, took my hand, and said, "I never stopped caring. I just didn't know if I was still safe in your heart." His words hit harder than anything Tyler ever said. Because Aaron wasn't just talking about trust, he was talking about being chosen. And in all the confusion, I had made him feel like a second option. I apologized, not just for the messages, but for shutting him out emotionally. For letting the past blur the present. For giving space to a version of myself that was still stuck in a memory. He didn't forgive me instantly, and honestly, I didn't expect him to. But he stayed. Not because everything was fine now, but because he saw I was finally ready to face the truth, no more excuses. Over the next few weeks, I went to therapy, not just for the trauma with Tyler, but to really understand why I needed that closure in the first place. What I learned was hard to admit. I had been carrying guilt for how things ended before, and deep down, I was looking for someone else to take it off my shoulders. But closure doesn't come from others. It comes when you forgive yourself. Aaron and I didn't rush things. We gave each other space. We rebuilt trust slowly, and we talked a lot. The kind of open, honest conversations I should have had from the start. And in time, we found a new rhythm. As for Tyler, he received the help he clearly needed. No more contact. No more shadows. Just silence, the peaceful kind this time. I shared my story not because it's perfect, but because it's real. Because so many of us think just one conversation can fix something broken. But the truth is, not all closure is healthy. Sometimes, it's a trap disguised as healing. And sometimes, by the time we realize that, we've already risked everything that actually mattered. I almost lost my relationship chasing ghosts. But I found myself instead. And that was the closure I truly needed. 54.